So if you want to know where this guitar player gets his delay sound from,
Well, baby and me went out late Saturday night. What can I tell you?
or where this band gets a lot of their wild delays, or what about Bob Marley and all the great delay sounds that he got in the studio? Now, the piece of gear that you're hearing from those artists is the Roland Space Echo. The Roland Space Echo came out in 1974 and was a really cool delay box that had a freestanding tape inside the box as well as a spring reverb unit. The Space Echo is a legendary piece of gear, but nowadays they're up over $2,000. So Universal Audio not only created their legendary plugin many years ago that gets rave reviews, they decided to tweak that algorithm and put it in a guitar-friendly pedal box. This is the Galaxy 74 Tape Echo and Reverb unit from Universal Audio. We're gonna dive in deep, play a bunch of sounds, and really take you through all the knobs so that you can get not only some of those classic tones, but new ones and spin the knobs to your heart's content. We'll do a deep dive. I'll even show you how I'm gonna get some sounds in the track you're about to hear. So let's jump in, start jamming, and then start checking out the Galaxy from Universal Audio. So let's take a trip through the Galaxy, and I'm gonna grab that dad pun that I said along the way and run with it, because I like it. Now we'll take our Fender Strat here into Galaxy, then into Woodrow, and Woodrow is their amplifier modeler pedal that recreates the sound of the 55 Fender Tweed style circuit and does a great job. I've dialed up a pretty clean sound here. And if you know anything about that circuit, it is not the mid-60s sound, which is more of the scooped mid, big, low end that we like. It's a different sound altogether, but you've heard it on tons of records. So the original Space Echo had reverb on it. And if we kick the pedal on with just reverb, we can hear that we have a nice spring reverb sound, but it doesn't have like the Fender reverb tone. It's a little more subtle, a little more atmospheric. Hangs around, doesn't get in the way. And I want to mention that I'm going into the amp with this, like I'd have the unit going into a real amplifier, whereas in the setting of the playing you heard me do earlier, I had it reversed. I tried it both ways and both sounded good for different purposes. So we can dial up more reverb if we want, more reverb volume. And you can hear the character of the reverb. Probably a little too much for me, but the dwell will help make the reverb last longer if we want. It drives the reverb tank, and we have adjustments for those. That's a vital part of the Space Echo, was the reverb. Producers and engineers use this type of unit in the plugin form that Universal Audio has created for drums, acoustic guitar, vocal, keyboards. A lot of people I talk to love the Space Echo. But the Space Echo really is about the echo. So let's make sure we really deep dive into all those settings. There's some things that makes Galaxy different than your normal delay pedal because it is indeed copying the Space Echo. Even the terminology is a little bit different. You have your echo rate, your feedback, and echo volume, which is your delay time, how many delays and the feedback you're getting, and then of course your echo volume, which is how loud the delay repeats will be. But a couple other special features is the head select. Now, this was a tape echo unit that had a free tape just spinning in the box, and you could use different heads to get different times of the delay. You could combine them to get all sorts of wacky things, which makes this unit, pretty desirable for a lot of the people that are interested in a quirky tape machine. Now, we also have input volume, and that means we can drive the unit harder with the signal coming from our guitar. That's going to affect how the delay works and how the reverb works as well. You can see I have it right about noon, which felt pretty good for me. We have, like I said, the dwell and the reverb volume, but then you have these sort of like subcategories under the knobs, and you can access those by hitting the switch down, and now you have the alt function. You can select the knobs for the bass and treble of the repeats, so you can sort of EQ the delay trails, and you can choose how new or old that tape is by turning the knob accordingly. The lower the volume, the lower the level, the newer the tape, the higher the level, the older and more sort of garbly and warm the tape is. We're going to go back to the main function here, and I'm going to bring the echo volume up. And since I mentioned Brian Setzer earlier, he gets a great slap echo with a space echo. Take that down, here's what it sounds like. Just reverb, but when I got the delay, that's a great place to start. Now, as I move the head select knob down, it's gonna lengthen the time of the delay. So maybe a nice sort of reggae vibe. And as I keep going through the heads, you can hear that the time gets longer. Now what's beautiful is I can tap those in if I want, a feature that was not available on the original unit. And you hear the tape catching up. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll add some more repeats in. I think the thing I really like about this unit is that it's not obtrusive. That stuff's just sitting under my tone. That is the mark of a great delay pedal. One thing you'll notice is that when I lower the knob here on the echo rate, the times are slower. And as I turn it up, they're faster. And you hear that modulation happening because that's simulating the tape catching up to the speed you want it to be. So let's play around with that head selection a little bit. I'm gonna go combine one of the head combinations here. So now we got different heads playing at the same time. And it creates these cool rhythmic delays, right? I can tap that if I want. And I'm gonna add some verb. And what I'm gonna do is turn the Alt function here, and I'm gonna make that tape dark. What I could do, turn it the other way, and the repeats are nice and clean. If I turn it up the other way, they're gonna be more mellow. I could turn the bass down, the treble up, and you hear those repeats are brighter now. So we can play around with that. But what I like about this is if I take it and I'm gonna tap a slow tempo, I'm just gonna play some, and you can't hear it all that much, and I don't want to, because I want it back there singing in the background. Yeah, I'll gas it even more. Somebody yelled at me for using the whammy bar. I won't do it. So that's where folks that are big fans of the Space Echo love it, because it gets out of the way, but it creates this beautiful bed of atmosphere. One of the cool things you can really do with Galaxy. A lot of other pedals do it, but nothing does it like the Space Echo or now the Galaxy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Galaxy Space Echo! So if you want to start your song off in a really cool way or end it, it has a built-in oscillation function right there when you hold the delay or the tap tempo knob down. You just hit a chord. And your dog goes crazy. But that's something that people found in the studio, and they could do it maybe on a Beatles record or a what's the other band? Radiohead, somebody like that would probably take a sound like that and then maybe transition to another song. It's something fun that they included into the pedal because that's what the original units could do as well. But this time you have it on a switch that you can hold and get that sound. Lots and lots of fun. So that was one of the first sounds I got when I started playing around with Galaxy, and I did it on purpose because to me it's just the quintessential space echo type of sound. You can see the knobs here, and you can kind of, you know, when you get your Galaxy, you can dial them up like this too by watching the video. Notice that I did go to the Alt function and I cranked up the tape age to get it nice and dark, and I'm just using the first tape head. Really fun rhythm sound. So for you budding session and guitarists and producers, this is a cool thing to have in your arsenal for these kinds of tracks. So give it a shot. So if you listen to the track, in the right speaker, I'm playing this Novo Mirrors J. I got a volume pedal in, and I'm dialing up the Galaxy to give me some of those extra atmospheric repeats by adding the tape head select switch to where I'm actually using 2 tape heads at the same time, giving me this sort of sound. You can hear the distortion a little bit coming from the Woodrow probably, but also I'm driving that tape hard again. We could clean it up a little bit if we wanted. So if you're interested in kind of creating layers and doing some fun stuff in your tracks or on stage, that is a fun way to do it. And you can see the Space Echo allows me to play those multiple tape heads to really get me some fun delays that I might not be able to get with a normal delay pedal. So we got some pretty great sounds with the Galaxy, and if you're a fan of the Roland Space Echo sound, but you don't want to spend $2,000 for that old piece of gear, you should definitely check out the Galaxy because it's going to get you 99.9% into the ballpark for all those tones. It's important to mention that it's not just another delay pedal, it is a faithful recreation of that unit. You can grab any delay pedal off the shelf to get, you know, generic and basic delay sounds, but this is going to give you all the character of that classic unit. I should also mention that all these UAFX pedals come with a corresponding app of their own, so you can get in and dive a little bit deeper when it comes to parameters. Some of them are deeper than others. A pedal like this, you're just going to be able to change some switch orientation and that sort of thing, but it's helpful depending on your application. Guys, don't forget you can grab the track in the links below. All the guitar sounds were created with UAFX pedals, so it's a really good sort of representation of what not only the Galaxy can do, but the Woodrow and the Ruby pedal as well. Of course, I'll have a link for the Galaxy below as well as all the UAFX pedals. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions of not only the Galaxy, but any other UAFX stuff that you've tried. This is just one of a handful of pedals Universal Audio will be putting out. I'll be doing demos on some more of them, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you know when I drop new videos, and I'll see you next time.